So as the Diddy case proceeds, I'm one who believes that it may not even come down to a jury verdict, it may come down to a court decision. Why? We know that Diddy faces 5 counts with regard to his conduct because of his treatment of the women that he was involved with. And we've all seen that tape, which is horrifying with respect to the beating that he particularly gave Cassie Ventura. That was shown to that jury over and over again. But let's look at this. What is he charged with? Number one, of course, he's charged with the issue of RICO, Racketeering Influence Corrupt Organization Act. That was an act, a statute designed to prosecute mobsters. You had a mob boss, they had a series of underbosses, they were going and they were really terrorizing communities. If they weren't killing people, they were taking monies of local businesses. That was the essence of why it was designed, and that's how it's been prosecuted. In the Diddy case, it's been expanded. Generally, in a RICO prosecution, you have multiple defendants on trial because you have maybe the kingpin, in this case Diddy, who is conspiring, that is agreeing with other people to engage in illegalities who are on trial. And you have the mastermind who's orchestrating this criminal activity. In this specific case, it's Diddy, and there has not been much evidence with regard to other people that were conspiring with him to engage in criminality. In fact, there were other people who allegedly were orchestrating and organizing these freak-offs with him, but did they know the true extent with regard to what was actually happening? So I think no matter what the jury does, it's going to be a question for a court to determine, can RICO be used really to prosecute a person who's sitting there, Diddy, without this sort of notion of these underbosses of heads of various organizations who are doing his business, which is to further criminal activity. Number two, if you look at the issue of sex trafficking, it's unconventional as well. In first instance, in one count, you have a 11 plus year relationship, and he's involved with this particular woman, Cassie Ventura. And is he sex trafficking her? Is that really is known? You think of sex trafficking with respect to people doing something against their will. This is when you yell at the camera, of course it was against her will. She said she didn't want to do it, Cassie Ventura. She said she was sick of it. She said that he was being manipulative and abusive, etc. And that may very well be right. He may very well be convicted. The issue is really going to be, and I think a court is going to have to make the determination, is a person that you're involved in a long-term relationship who is not so much on board, or is she on board with doing these freak-offs, or did she lose interest, but was she okay initially? It's really murky, and a jury's going to have to determine at what point she said, Cassie Ventura, no, I'm not doing it, if in fact she didn't have an intention to do it, whether or not that constitutes sex trafficking, or it constitutes a change of mind or a transactional relationship where, hey, you're getting something out of it and I am too. This is not a sense of what I'm saying. I'm just telling you what a judge in a court may have to ultimately determine. Same thing too as it relates to Jane. Same similar conduct. You're involved in Jane's sense in a 3-year relationship, and a person who clearly said at some point, I'm not with this anymore, but continued to do it. Can it be construed that she did it because there was a quid pro quo? Hey, you know what? You pay for my home for me, you give me an allowance, etc., and I'm not crazy about it, but I'll continue to do it. And I left, but I came back. And so you may very well have a jury conclude that this is sex trafficking. Is it, however, sex trafficking from a legal perspective, as a matter of law? Would a judge and ultimately a court, in making a decision, rule that if you have a long-term relationship, if you travel in interstate commerce, which is what you need for a federal offense, and by the way, there's another participant and you engage in commercial sex, is that trafficking as defined by the statute? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. I think we're going to get some pretty unique judicial opinions about it. I think the one thing that is pretty clear, or if not clear, I think there's certainly an abundance of evidence, and that's with regard to something called the Mann Act, which is when you engage in prostitution, you really travel in interstate commerce, and it's for the intent of sexual exploitation, it's for the intent of engaging in various sexual activity. I think there's evidence there. I don't see so much of a legal challenge based on that if he's convicted and if the jury buys that that's in fact what he was doing. But I think as it relates to RICO and as it relates to sex trafficking, the jury's verdict will not be the end in terms of whether or not it constituted that as a matter of federal law. May the law be with you. See you on YouTube and Substack for more.